Nigeria has reportedly engaged the services of a Washington-based lobbying firm, DCI Group, in a $9 million contract aimed at communicating its efforts to protect Christians in Nigeria to the United States government. According to the report, the amount appears to be a record for African lobbying in the U.S. Capitol, citing documents filed with the U.S. Department of Justice by Aster Legal, a Kaduna-based law firm acting on behalf of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu. The agreement signed on December the 17th, 2025, between Oyetunji Olalekan Teslim, managing partner at Aster Legal, and Justin Peterson, managing member of DCI Group, authorizes the U.S. firm to assist the Nigerian government in communicating its actions to protect Nigerian Christian communities and maintaining U.S. support in countering West African jihadist groups and other destabilizing elements. I'm now joined by a global affairs analyst, Ejike Okpa, for this conversation. Thank you, as always, for obliging us. The contract is reportedly one of the most expensive lobbying deals ever signed by an African government. Your thoughts on that first?
Hey, thank you for having me, and Happy New Year. I think this is the first time talking with you in 2026. It's not the largest. It's not the largest. When Kabila was there as president of DRC, they engaged a law firm, that was formerly staffed with the former Senator Bob Dole, and they paid a lot of money so that, U.S. will have a favorable look or outlook on DRC. And South Africa has done some things. But, the point is that Nigeria is spending this money. Well, maybe this is Nigeria's first time doing it, but it's obviously not the biggest in case of an African country.
Okay, that clarification was very important, because that seemed to be one of the predominant narratives being put out online. Let's take on what critics may say in this instance. We have present security, economic and social needs here at home. Why is the federal government of Nigeria prioritizing foreign lobbying instead of strengthening internal systems to protect all Nigerians? What, in your thinking, guided this prioritization?
I think it's a reactionary measure that Tinubu is jumping, which to me is medicine after death. Since he became president, Nigeria doesn't have an ambassador in U.S. and is that 2 years and more than 6 months. And then, of course, until the airstrike in Nigeria, and then, everybody now started running around to see what it is you want to do. Lobbying in America is very effective if you already have, a country diplomatic group that have built a relationship, have against American policymakers and politicians and public figures, so that when you now come in for specific interest, through the lobbying thing, they say, oh, by the way, we're not about you. But if it's just after the fact, a reactionary measure, I don't think it's going to get Nigeria any mileage based on the money being spent. It's not a whole lot of money, but in terms of Nigerian national budget, you could see how that is a huge percentage. If Mexico and Canada, spend hundreds of millions of dollars every year just to lobby America, and it's just a next door country. So it's not big, but if Nigeria really want to polish and launder their own public image, internationally, they have to have a diplomatic core or people that are effective in building relationship, and not when things happen, they start behaving like chicken without head, chicken whose head is cut off. This is all falls back to Tinubu and his foreign ministry and foreign team and whoever is advising. It's just a wait and see thing.
Go ahead.
It's just a wait and see thing to see whether this, this $9 million or whatever the amount is going to get them a multiple, benefit of, 10 times or 100 times.
What I'm about to ask you, I'm sorry to interject, I'm told we only have a few minutes. This seems like a tired question, actually, but it's imperative we keep asking, and that is about accountability, because this fund that is going to be expended is public funds. Do you think there is any kind of mechanism that will that the government will use to account for the spending for the purpose? And what would be the yardstick for measuring success for a contract that is supposed to be renewed after 6 months?
Well, good question. But the thing is whomever is the president of Nigeria runs Nigeria as a petty cash corporation. They can dig their hand in the purse and do whatever it is. They pull the purse string, strings, and then, so if they want $1, they get it. If they want a kobo, they get it. The National Assembly is not an effective, check and balances. The Ways and Means Committee is not doing that. So the question that needs to be had is this money already appropriated in the Foreign Ministry and now there's been deployed, or is this one of those ad hoc reaction? Okay, let's go spend the money because nobody's going to question the president, for spending that kind of money. Then the question again is, since the money has been spent and it's a 6 months, we'll see what happens in 6 months, whether, you need to be renewed or say, hey, we're not getting the mileage for spending money. Anytime you spend public money, that's what they call cost benefit analysis. If in the case of investment, it becomes return on and return off. Either way, anytime you let money go and outlay, you're going to want something in return to justify that you spent that money. And so let's wait and see. But the Nigerian, National Assembly at the federal level have to be a little more pushing back on what any president is going to do. Tinubu hasn't appointed an ambassador since he's been in office. He hasn't appointed a foreign, petroleum minister. The assembly should say, no, if you're not going to appoint these people, we're not going to confirm any other person you want. He's been making some local appointments, but hasn't really appointed the substantial things that can get Nigeria mileage. So again, this is, you can spend money anytime you want, but what are you getting in return?